All right, hi everybody, and welcome into another amazing episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. We have some topics to go over with you today. We've got Shohei Ohtani making $700 million. 9 coaches are already fired in college football, and the percentages of international student athletes getting recruited is staggering. We've already talked about how 25,000 international students are taking scholarships away, but when you hear the actual percentages, you will not believe it. So with that, Dennis, how are you doing today?
Oh, hey, Andrew, listen, I would tell you, just trying to be a voice in the wilderness. You and I were both in the country, and we're trying to say, hey, wake up, America. Wake up, parents. Wake up, athletes. Wake up, communities, states. I mean, it's ridiculous that a baseball player is going to make $700 million, right? We have all these outstanding NCAA baseball players. I mean, outstanding. I mean, I watched the NCAA. I told you my brothers went to LSU. LSU has big-time baseball, always has. Even when Shaq was there. My brothers were there with Shaq. Shaq was one of their boys, Shaquille O'Neal was one of my brother's boys. They hung out with them. They were all down there at LSU, but they had big-time baseball. Also down there, and my sons and daughters. My one son was a big time baseball player, and my daughters all played softball. So I'm a big baseball guy, and I watch college baseball. We have a Philadelphia AAA team here in town in Lehigh County where we're at, and I know my wife and my kids go and watch them from time to time. But to think that we have all these, tremendous amount of baseball players in this country, that they're going to give a foreigner $700 million, Andrew. So look, there's only 17 states, and we talked about this in regards to the NFL. We haven't covered the MLB, but we're going to talk about it today. Only 17 states with Major League Baseball franchises, Andrew. It's really, really sick. It's ridiculous. Okay, we have all this talent in America, in the minors, in the NCAA, and even in high school. There's a lot of guys getting drafted out of high school these days too. For years that's been going on. So to think that we only have 17 states with Major League Baseball franchises, it's a sin. It really is a sin. You take 30 states. Let's say 30 states. And how big are the baseball rosters? You had said, what, 40?
There's 26. 26 is active, but it's a 40-man roster. That's the MLB.
All right, so let's say we get 30 more states. So 47 states will have baseball franchises, right? So now 30 states times 1,200 more baseball players, 1,200 more professional baseball players. Take that Japanese guy, right? $700 million. You could pay 1,200. You could pay 1,200 NCAA and minor league players close to $1 million each. They'd be happy to sign $1 million contract. Those guys, you understand? So you could basically employ another 1,200 professional baseball players with that one guy's contract. Now let's talk about. I'm hearing rumors of other Japanese guys making $400 or $500 million deals. This is gonna set it off on a crazy spin. But guess what? All of our American athletes are being left out. How in God's name can they bring foreigners into this country, okay, and sign $700 million contracts with them, and leave thousands and thousands of our American-born athletes, right, that are busting their backs and sacrificing? I mean, baseball is a tremendous sport. I have friends of mine whose sons are playing and getting recruited by Virginia and various other schools, and it's so sad, Andrew. It is so sad to see these Major League Baseball and the like to just leave, and there's guys from all different Asian countries, and there's all kind of, there's Cuba. We talked about this: Cuba, Dominican, South America, Puerto Rico, all kind of different. But Puerto Rico's a different story. They're part of us. But Cuba and the Dominican and these other foreign countries, I would tell you, it's very, very bothersome to me to see billions of dollars being pumped out, and our amateur college baseball players, high school baseball players, and our minor league baseball players being overlooked for these foreigners. And what bothers me about it, is that who's giving these guys their visas? I mean, these guys are coming in from countries from all over the place, and they're just getting these visas to steal jobs, to steal opportunities from our American athletes. Do you understand? Senator Bradley made it real clear too with the gambling side of things. It's only getting worse too if you throw the gambling in. But who's giving these guys? Who's giving these guys these visas, and who's paying them this type of money? And in it, Andrew, it's the proof that I've always said that they're getting so rich. We on one of our shows we talked about a defensive lineman making $40 million playing for the Green Bay Packers, a defensive lineman. So if they have that type of money around, to spread out, there's more than enough money to establish another 30 Major League Baseball franchises in 30 different states. And since we're talking about Green Bay, who paid this guy $40 million, that's living proof that it works. There's only 100,000 people in Green Bay, in the city. So if a city of 100,000 can support a major NFL franchise, and the Green Bay Packers are a major NFL franchise, why can't another 30 cities in America support an NFL franchise and a Major League Baseball franchise, and give these opportunities to these young men who are busting their backs and sacrificing to try to make it? And guess what? The greed, Andrew, it's the greed. It's the big business that you were talking about and I were talking about that's ruining these opportunities for these young men to have the opportunity of a lifetime to play professionally, and it's hurting each one of the states. Why, Andrew? Because the positive economic effect that a professional franchise has on a small city or a smaller state is phenomenal.
So let's take it to that point. So when you say 1,200 jobs, that's 1,200 playing jobs, like spots on the team. If you bring in 30
Correct.
different MLB franchises across the country, you're talking about countless numbers of employment for like staff, training staff, stadium staff, field maintenance. I mean, we're talking millions and millions over the course of 30 days. We're talking millions of jobs. So as far as like building business, it doesn't make any sense to keep it as this 32 team limit or 30 team limit. With Shohei Ohtani's contract, so this is the interesting part with baseball, and I go back and forth because it's like these numbers are so massive. We're talking about excess of $500 million. We're not $500,000.
Crazy.
We're talking B's now.
Crazy.
$500 million. So $700 million over 10 years is the contract, but that's really not the contract because you actually have to look at how it's being paid out. So how they're doing it, and baseball's weird because they don't have a salary cap and there's like no rules. So over the next 10 years, Shohei Ohtani is only making $2 million a year. When you say, that's a discount, like $2 million. That's like, listen, he is the best player in baseball. He's pitching. He's about to
best pitcher.
Well, he's hitting too. He hit 3 home runs. He's hitting and pitching. So he's doing it, but he is. Yeah, so he's getting paid $2 million a year for the next 10 years. But then after that, so that's 2024 through 2034, 33, whatever. And then after that, for the next 10 years until 2043, he's getting paid $680 million a year over the next 10 years. That's $68 million a year. So when you say it like that, it is so absurd that the guy when he's in his playing days is only making $2 million. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to actually be able to have a competitive team. They're not going to bankrupt everything, and they can put the money into assets, investments. They can give him stock options in the team and all that kind of stuff to pay that out over the next 20 years. But it's so ridiculous because it's not even about well, there is no salary cap, but it's not even about like maintaining like a level of fairness, which is the name of our podcast, a level playing field. There is no level playing field in Major League Baseball because then
None. None.
you have a team like I don't know what, like even Seattle, who's fighting to be in the World Series right now. But when you have a team like LA, New York, they have so much money. The Yankees have so much money. This has been the thing for like the last 30 years, like even like back George Steinbrenner, like paying people. And now,
Well, they have so much. They have so much money because they're a bunch of
well, exactly.
greedy
So they
slobs.
hoard it.
They're
They're hoarding
not.
all this money. They're not sharing it. There's no revenue sharing that's going to help these smaller market teams like even Milwaukee, who's putting up a good fight, but they can't compete with the Dodgers, and we just saw it in the last series. They shut them down, and now you come to this point where you're like, okay, is it just going to be this? Is this just what it is? Are you going to have a team that gets really lucky like a Brewers and they sign some people, they can hold them for a little bit, and then eventually money wins. You're going to get paid that big contract and they're going to go away because that's what it is.
Listen, the Yankees went nowhere this year,
It
so the
makes me so
almighty
happy.
dollar doesn't always do it. Listen, the almighty dollar doesn't always
Mhm.
do it. Do
Yeah.
you understand? And we're seeing that. We're seeing that. Come center, because I would tell you, to only have 17 states that have
Mhm.
professional baseball. Oh my word, that is a
It's such an
sin.
interesting
Okay,
concept.
California has 5
Mhm.
teams, right? And then you have 5 other states that have 2,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania being one of them. But 17 states that have major league franchises. Then you have 2 Canadian teams. Toronto's in the hunt right now. But I would tell you, or is there 3? There might be 3. Does Vancouver? No, Vancouver has a hockey team. Vancouver doesn't have
I
a
think there's
baseball
only
team. It's
one now
confusing.
because it's Toronto, and then Montreal moved down to Washington. That was the Expos.
Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
I think it's only
Okay,
one.
but anyway, I would tell you that the almighty dollar is running professional
Yeah.
baseball, and who's getting cheated, who's getting left out? All of our American athletes, our American baseball players that work so hard and sacrifice so much. We talk about these clubs.
Mhm.
I mean, there's club baseball teams that travel the country.
Mhm.
They go everywhere and they play baseball all over the place. And the and that's in the South, that's in the North, that's in the Central and West. That's the whole country that I'm
Mhm.
talking about. So for everybody just to sit there, and what they do, Andrew. You made a great point on one of our shows. You said it's your
Mhm.
eyes. It's your eyes, right? All you've got to do is stop watching. Stop watching them because they're a bunch of greedy slobs, in my opinion.
Mhm.
To pay a guy $700 million to play baseball is like the Green Bay Packers paying a guy $40 million to tackle. So they all have too much money. So what we need to do is we need to get these professional franchises in every single state. Every single state needs to share in the revenue, and they need to have athletes. And like you just talked about, the positive
Mhm.
multiplier effect would be
Mhm.
absurd. And here's the thing: you got the Packers and the Browns are owned by the government. They're government-owned
Mhm.
teams, right? So if the owners are worried about their value, we'll just set up a bunch of every state will jump at the
Mhm.
opportunity, and there are athletes there. Don't listen. Don't let these scouts or let these guys that are running these football franchises and baseball franchises, because they're a bunch of pencil neck geeks that never wore a jockstrap in their lives, and they're determining that tens of thousands of our young men and women, mostly men in baseball and in football, don't have jobs and don't have the opportunity to thrive. Now, what is that? We live in the greatest country in the world. It's our government's responsibility and the corporations, Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NHL, and NBA, to open up opportunities for our young men and women. Do you understand? And they're not. So you people that are watching, you think you're helping, but you're hurting. Okay? You need to tell your governors, your senators, your congressmen, I don't care what state you're in. I'm an independent. I don't care if you're in a Democratic state or in a Republican state. We need more professional franchises for the good of the young men and young women that are competing. My wife told me there's only six NBA, 6 states that have women's NBA, right? But there's like 30 states that have men's NBA. Well, why isn't there 30 WNBA teams in 30 states? Those are opportunities for our women to go and play basketball and have a career and make some money and really enjoy themselves and stay healthy. I mean, with our obesity issues that we have and the mental illnesses that we have and the financial difficulties that our countries have, to have a guy make $700 million, that's real. That's real. Okay? And have a bunch of others coming in and to the like making the same while we got thousands and thousands and thousands of young, talented baseball players in the minors and in college and in high school that aren't getting an opportunity. Do you understand? Not just for them to physically, it makes me want to cry, honestly. It really does. That they are to be so greedy that the Dodgers, to pay a guy $700 million is really, really absurd. And it goes to the next point, Andrew. You know, these college coaches, they're making sick money, right? They're making sick money. They're talking about $20-30 million buyouts. I mean, who are these guys to get 20-30 million buyouts from these universities? These universities are where our alumni are making major contributions to, and these football coaches who are just leaving the kids stranded, like this. The Penn State really disappointed me. This coach, so the Penn State coach says he can't wait to coach somewhere. Oh, you can't wait to coach somewhere? Well, why don't you shut your mouth? Just shut your mouth and let the dust settle. Okay, hang out with your family, pray for the kids because those kids just made you. What did he get? What was his buyout?
$49 million.
What was the guy? Oh my God. $49 million Franklin made. Some dork who played at a small college, East Stroudsburg University, right? He's so blessed to have this opportunity. And what does he want to do? $49 million. And he wants to, all of a sudden now he's saying, I can't wait to coach. So now his agent is now negotiating with the university somewhere. You know that. So the university's going to fire their head coach, knowing Franklin's going to take the job. Same thing that scumbag at LSU did. He was at Cincinnati. This is one of the biggest tragedies, like 10 years ago. And this is where it all started. So Kelly is at University of Cincinnati, and the kids play their you-know-what's off. They have a great year. I think they were undefeated, right, 10 or 15 years ago. Great group of kids. And the Notre Dame job opens up. And what's he do? He goes and takes the Notre Dame job, and he don't even say bye to the kids. He leaves the kids stranded. So he goes to Notre Dame, didn't do anything there. The last national championship Notre Dame had, one of my buddies was coaching there. Coach Joe Moore was coaching there, right? And some other dork that coached that pit when I was there. But anyway, I don't want to say his name. He's a backstabber. The guy's name was Davey. Well, he was my positions coach when I first went to Pitt. So they're at Notre Dame. They win a national championship. So they say, oh, they're going to get Kelly. So he goes over to Notre Dame. Doesn't do anything. Never does anything. I think their best finish was maybe 9 or 10 in the country. Right? Can't win a game. Can't do anything right. But he's making all these millions and millions of dollars from Notre Dame. Then what's he do? LSU gets rid of a great coach, the guy by the name of Orgeron. He's got guts. He coaches LSU to a national championship, brings down this stud from Ohio, getting back to schools not knowing the scouts. They don't really know. These scouts don't know, okay? So Burroughs goes down. Orgeron has the guts. In the South, we're Yankees to all the people outside. Well, this day they call us Yankees. Man, my brothers were down there. We were always Yankees. Y'all Yankees, they'd say. But we'd be down we'd be down at LSU, and they bring down Burroughs, a guy from the north, from Ohio, and Argeron puts this great team together, right? And let me tell you something, Andrew. My brother, I don't watch much college football. My brother watches LSU all the time, so he says, Dennis, you got to come watch. Him and a bunch of his buddies were getting together. Come on and watch LSU. They're playing Alabama. Alabama's a powerhouse. No one can beat Alabama. So he said they're both on the field. I said, bro, I don't want to. I'm not going to go watch. You want me to hang out with you? I'll come up and hang out with you. I don't want to watch LSU play Alabama. I'm in Pennsylvania. What do I want to watch that for, right? So LSU beats them, right? So then they play again. And my brother, then they're playing for a night. I went and watched them. Let me tell you, that LSU team that Argeron put together,
legit,
right? Oh my word! Listen, 1981 University of Pittsburgh. You watch those guys. I was on that team, right? We won the Sugar Bowl. Our quarterback was Dan Marino. Okay, we had a dozen first round draft picks on that team. Okay, not just that year, but if you spread them out, the starters, maybe even like closer to 15, and the backups, guys that weren't playing, there was like another 5 or 6 first round draft picks on that team. Pitt had Dan Marino, Jimbo Culver at left tackle, Bill Fralick at right tackle, right? And then we had a loaded defense with a bunch of first round draft picks. We beat Georgia, but I'm telling you something. That team was that I can't say they were better, but they were right there with that team. I think that LSU team had a better had a quarterback that was right next to Dan. I mean, that kid was a star. They had a better tailback and a better wideout and a better tight end, but the rest we had better. Our lineman was better than LSU, but LSU had some pretty nice offensive tackles in that game. But Argeron, getting to the point of the story. So Argeron has a hurricane, like the following year, a hurricane hits. LSU can't practice, right? And he ends up with off to a bat, and they fire him, and they bring in Kelly. But I guarantee you, before they fired him, they had a deal with Kelly. You understand, Andrew? So this is what the Penn State, just go circle round on this. So the guy at Penn State, is his agent's calling out there, hey, who wants him? Come and get him, right? So someone's going to say, oh, all right, let's make a deal with him. Then we're going to fire our coach. You just made $40 million. That's not enough. Give a guy a break. Let the season end. Get around the kids. Be respectful. Be decent. Okay, and switching over to Michigan with Harbaugh. He wins a national championship. He's at his alma mater, University of Michigan, right? I visited. We were in the same year. Good guy. I know him. He knows me. And I'm so disappointed in him because he's done the same thing. I mean, where is their loyalty, Andrew? That's my whole point. Where does their loyalty lay? Does it lay in all of the sound gifts that they were taught? Team together, everyone accomplishes more. It's very clear, Andrew. It's very, very clear that the almighty dollar has taken over when it comes to professional sports and college sports. And I'm so sad for the men that are participating in this. They got to wake up and really go back to basics, man. And I tell you, I'm very disappointed with Franklin. I thought he was a better man. Okay.
Well, that's it. It's big business. It's big business now. I mean, we're talking. I think we said last week about how there's potentially $2 billion of private equity coming into the Big Ten. They want to break it up. There's 18 schools. They want to have 20 shares. So 18 schools, the conference, and then a stake in private equity. And that's insane. $2 billion. It's so hard, right? Because we sit here and we say, we're talking about the kids, and we're saying we're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars. We're not talking about 50 grand. Like, if you paid me 50 grand while I was in college, I would have had endless opportunities, and it would have been amazing. But we're not talking about 50 grand. We're not talking about 500 grand. We're not talking about $500 million. We're talking about $2 billion. And that's the level of money that we're talking about. And you really have to wrap your head around it. It's not this quaint college sports anymore. There's no more amateurism in it. This is highly competitive business. And Yeah, they also play on the field. But like this is business at the end of the day, and business is cutthroat at that level, and nobody cares. And as soon as you don't have an ROI, you don't return that investment that they inputted, you're gone. And you can see that because it's week 7 now of the football season. 9 coaches have already been fired in Division One football, high end, and we're not talking about like low end jobs. Virginia Tech, Penn State, Mike Gundy was at Oklahoma State for I don't know 15, 20 years. He's gone. Florida just fired their guy. Nobody cares about buyouts anymore because they know this TV money's coming in. They know private equity money's coming in. They know NIL money's coming in. So now it's all just baked in. Now it's baked into, well, if we're not winning, then we're losing money. Now it's not we're losing games, we're losing money. And if we're not
The
bringing in more
problem,
money, then that's it. Then we lose twofold.
the problem, Andrew, the problem is it's so
Yep.
simple and it's
Yep.
absurd in that the men and women that are making these decisions in Major League Baseball, in in the NFL, in the NCAA,
Mm-hmm.
you understand? And a lot of these athletic directors, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're so out of tune with
Yeah.
reality. And they all should get fired, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Every single one of them should be fired. But look, Andrew, man, he made it real clear. You see your eyes? You see your eyes? That's how you
Mm-hmm.
fire them. Stop
Yep.
watching them. Their ratings need to go down, down, down. Okay? And when that happens, maybe they'll wake up. But so long as yous are going to go and watch them and support them and buy their garbage that they're trying to sell. They don't care about
Mm-hmm.
us. All they care about is what Andrew's talking about, the almighty dollar. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? How does a coach get fired? Okay, and then in the same week he's saying he can't wait to coach again. Well, he wants to go steal another guy's job. He just made $40 million. I mean, why not give another guy an opportunity? Take a year off, hang out with your family, think about what you want to do, and the kids that invested, when these kids commit, to going to a
Mm-hmm.
university, okay, and giving it their all for their coach, it's really disgusting that this guy and guys, and, oh, by the way, LSU got beat by Vanderbilt this
Mm-hmm.
past weekend. I was smiling from cheek to cheek. You know what I'm saying? I cheer against Kelly. I hope he lose $10 million, man. To coach college, and the guy's just a backstabbing
Mm-hmm.
scumbag, in my opinion. Okay, and I'm talking to you down in Louisiana, where Andrew and I are having a really good momentum. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
followers from all over the country. And listen, y'all, whatever, wherever you're at, yuns, all the different ways people say you, across the country. This applies to
Sure.
every one of you. Every university that you are all at, you've got to take the universities
Mm-hmm.
back. Okay, and we got to shut down Major League Baseball and the NFL and force them. Get with your governors, get with your people in your state. You're able to do this and
Mm-hmm.
force them to have franchises in every
Mm-hmm.
single state. That's what's fair because then they won't have $700 million,
Mm-hmm.
Andrew. They won't have $700 million to pay a guy to play baseball and $40 million a year to pay a guy to tackle. That money needs to go to another, and it's not a big
Mm-hmm.
number, another 1,000, 1,500 athletes that would end up being NFL or Major League
Mm-hmm.
Baseball athletes. But you, like you talked about, the multiplier effect
Yeah.
will be to the billions and trillions of
And
dollars to the good of all the states. And let me just make this point too. The owners, these owners, the other reason they signed a Japanese guy, Los Angeles is filled with
oh yeah.
Asians.
Oh,
You know
they're
that.
I mean,
They wanted
again,
to come
big
out.
business. They're not
They,
dumb guys. These are very smart
they
individuals.
want the viewership in Japan. They want the Japanese now
Yep.
watching on whatever networks or whatever way they're making their money worldwide.
Yep.
You understand? So it's all about the almighty
So what
dollar. So
happens?
they bring
What
up.
happens when? What
They,
happens when you sign? You sign Ohtani, Japanese player, $700 million. He's the best player in MLB, flat out. No one's arguing it. What do? You don't only have all those jersey sales in Los Angeles anymore, which is also already a massive market. You don't just have it now. You have an entire country. You have an entire country of people that buy that jersey. I mean, like it is. I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't imagine
But you
anyone
got
else
those eyes,
in the
Andrew.
eyeballs, in the eyeballs.
You got those eyes that you were talking about. You got a
Sponsorship
whole
money.
country.
You're talking merchandise, sponsorships. I mean, it's endless. It is an endless it's an endless spiral of money just coming in, and they do it on purpose. It's not just I mean, listen, he's a great baseball player. That there's on-field benefits, obviously, but the off-field benefits are just as high. So so yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy numbers. It's crazy numbers to even like wrap your head around to start off.
I don't like. Listen, I don't like the foreign
Mhm.
thing, Andrew. You know, and here's the thing: when you're a foreigner, you only pay a 15% tax. You pay a 15% tax. So all that money
Mhm.
he's making, like if he's an American athlete, he's going to have to pay the 40 to 50%
That's
bracket
interesting.
to make
I
that
was
money,
looking up.
right? So this guy,
Yeah.
who's giving him visas? Who's giving all these foreign athletes
So I was
visas?
looking up.
A and
I
then
was looking up
B
the visas.
and B.
There's so the
Yeah.
visas aren't. It's not a normal work visa. There's a visa. I think it's called a 1A, 1AB or something like that. But anyway, it's basically if you are an international sports star, if you've won MVPs, All Star games at an international level, you're able to come in and work without any. You're working. You're not a United States citizen, but to your point, that means that you're paying tax. I don't know how that actually works, but I'm assuming you're paying taxes
15%.
for your nationality as well.
15% flat tax. They pay a
There you go.
15 foreign corporations and foreigners pay a 15% flat tax.
So
So
then
do the
there's
math.
yeah.
So if one of our guys makes 700 million, they're going to pay 350 million dollars in taxes. You understand?
Well, not only
This
that.
guy's going to pay 80 90 million in taxes back. So they're not just they're not just a negative
Mhm.
multiplier effect, because that's 700 million paid to an American. And what's he going to do with that money? He's going to take it
Well,
back to
also
Japan. You understand?
remember,
He's not going to invest it and spend it in America,
remember,
Andrew.
he's not getting paid 700 million while he's here in America playing. He's got 10 years where he's only making 2 million a pop because they know, I'm sure
Only,
that was also
only,
figured in is that when he goes back,
only.
he's going to get paid 680 million in Japan. So I'm sure
Well,
there's some type of
here's
workaround there, which obviously,
well, what I'm saying to you, the IRS and our government can bust a farmer's chop or bust a local guy's chop over a couple thousand
yes.
dollars, but here these guys, and all the guys in South America and Asia and all these guys that are making big money out of America, even the
Mhm.
Canadians. But I'm less concerned about the Canadians. But what I would, and that's in all the sports. That's in all the sports. But what I'm concerned about are these visas, because we have 25,000 athletes a year coming into America and stealing our
Mhm.
scholarships from from our women and our men to the tune of over $1 billion. If you average a scholarship at $40,000 a year, it's over $1 billion a year being stolen from our American athletes, Andrew. But what I'm bothered by, and it's not just the other. We got a guy from Australia at Villanova. I have a friend of mine whose son is a starter at Villanova. They're one of the top, what do they call it, FBA or FCS? I don't know how that goes, but Villanova won a national championship. Tony Siragusa, my roommate at the University of Pittsburgh, my backup, his
Mhm.
son was a starter. Villanova just won a national championship like 3 or 4 years ago. But they're real serious now. They played Penn State this year, but so I was checking on the kid to see if he's playing. I was watching over the weekend after I do all my farm work. I turned the TV on for maybe an
Mhm.
hour. So I saw Villanova. So I told my wife, look for Villanova. What number is he? He's number 58. His name's Thomas Brown. Tough wrestler. God bless him. He's at Villanova. He got recruited by a bunch of schools, but they chose Villanova. I'm happy to have him in Pennsylvania. But here's the kicker. My wife's looking,
Mhm.
Andrew. She says, there's a 33-year-old punter from Australia on the Villanova Wildcats roster, right? He's a starting kicker. He's got a scholarship as a punter. He's a
Mhm.
punter. I'm like, oh my God. Now here's the thing. He's 33 years old. 33 years old,
Mhm.
Andrew. Now, and he's in his 6th year. He went to East Carolina first. And now he's at Villanova getting his second degree. Now
Mhm.
think about that. His second degree. And that now there's over 1,000 high schools in the state of Pennsylvania, Andrew. Over 1,000 high schools, and this is what makes me sick. We got thousands and thousands of minor league baseball players and NCAA baseball players, big time baseball players. And you watch the NCAA baseball, the World Series, man, it's awesome. These guys are playing as good, if not better, than the guys at the next level. You know what I'm saying to you? They're all fired up. They're excited. They're real baseball players, those NCAA baseball players and the high school baseball players. But anyway, in the state of Pennsylvania, right, a great state, great football state, right? We have a foreigner punting on a scholarship at Villanova. That makes me sick. And they're a Catholic university, a little bit of a serious Catholic university. One of my daughters went there to graduate school. But I would tell you, I want to throw up to think of that. And oh, by the way, right down the street in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Eagles, they similarly have an Australian offensive tackle who went. And a friend of mine trained them. There's a big outfit in Florida, Tampa, Florida. It's not coming to my head right now. But my buddy Paul Dunn trained this kid, and he ended up playing for the Eagles. Now, let me ask you. Now, I heard he's big time. He's doing real well for the Eagles. He's a star player. But here's what makes me sick, right? Now we have all these basketball players that aren't making it to the NBA because there's such a restricted amount of guys that can come. He was a rugby player, this kid that's at the Eagles. We have all these baseball players the same that aren't getting opportunities because Major League Baseball is limited to just restrictive of them advancing themselves and playing for a team. So why if the Eagles were investing and wrestlers, how about these heavyweight wrestlers? They're superstars, tremendous athletes, but they're just wrestling in college. So why wouldn't they invest in one of our American athletes and develop them into an NFL caliber lineman, which they've done? There's been plenty of wrestlers, plenty of national championships and wrestlers who have excelled in the NFL after their college experience. But why now are they going and picking out foreigners? Getting back, I have a real sore spot for this because I love our American athletes, our American-born athletes. And if an athlete was born overseas or has immigrant parents and they go through the high school system, do you understand? And they become naturalized, I don't have a problem with those athletes. You hear what I'm saying here? But I have a problem with the American universities and the American pro sports franchises bringing these athletes over when we're loaded with punters. I mean, 1,000 high schools in the state of Pennsylvania, they couldn't get a Pennsylvania high school punter to punt for them. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's sickening. It's disgusting.
There's no more national pride anymore. Like that's the thing, right? There isn't an American national pride like there used to be. Back in in the if you want to go as far back as the Yankees and like the Murderers Row and everything like that, Joe DiMaggio and Yogi Berra and all these guys, and it's just not the same. It's not the same. You don't even have to go. You don't have to go all that way back, but it's just not. There's not the same feeling in the country. It's like we've talked about this whole episode. It's about money, and if you can't perform, we're gonna find someone who can, and it doesn't matter where they're from because we need to make money. And as the TV contracts keep coming in, if we lose eyeballs because we're not good, then we're losing money, and that's all that matters.
And the people got to voice their opinions. They got to call your. I don't care what state you're in. We're getting watched from California down to Florida, up to Boston. We have a big audience right now. And I don't care where you're at or what state you're in. It applies to you. It applies to you. It applies to every one of these. And if you want a better America for our athletes, you've got to stop now because on the pace that it's going, it's going to hell. We're going to have nothing but a bunch of foreigners running around in our American sports. Let me correct myself. It's happening. It's happening. It's not going to happen. It's happening. 25,000 foreigners right now to the tune of over $1 billion in scholarships a year are getting stolen from your children, from your nephews, from your nieces, from your grandchildren. Okay? And this is so serious that you need to address it. And look, I would tell you most importantly, we all need to, St. James says it real clear: faith without works is dead. We need to work at this now. We need to say, hey, there's some issues. I'm not going to send any money to the University of California or to LSU or to Boston College and everybody in between, Penn State, across the whole Midwest. And you're not going to do it for the reasons that we're talking about. Andrew and I are doing this, man. We love our American athletes, and we want it to stop like now. Okay,
I had this conversation this weekend actually, and we were saying how neither one of us, we're not big government people. I'm not someone who's going to tell you to come in and like, we need more government to regulate this, and that's the only way it's ever going to get fixed. That's not how it's going to work, because there's just another layer of corruption that's going to come in when you do that. But there needs to be something that regulates sports and money and the influx of money. And the answer,
Andrew, the Cleveland. Go ahead.
The answer is
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. No, the answer is that we need to regulate it as consumers. You need to regulate yourself and say, you know what? I don't agree with this. This is like, listen, I love football. I love sports. I love all I love what they are at their core. But right now, they are not what they are at their core. It's an exacerbated situation that is just continuing to spiral out of control to the tune of $700 million contracts. And that's it.
I would tell you, Andrew, I would say from a governmental perspective that the Cleveland Browns and the Green Bay Packers are a prime example that in professional sports it can work. Okay. And I would say that, it's very clear they have monopolies, and this is an antitrust issue. I told you on another show, I was part of that. Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, won, and the USFL owners won an antitrust lawsuit against the NFL. And the federal court ruled that they are a monopoly, but they only awarded $1. $1 they awarded in damages. But that case law is still on the record. So from my perspective, every single state and city, bigger city, 100,000 plus, should go in and petition the court to have an NFL franchise, a Major League Baseball franchise, go right down the list, established. And here's the thing, it wouldn't hurt the owners. It would only help them because they're so busy trying to get viewership. They're hiring they're hiring some Spanish cat to sing at the Super Bowl to draw Spanish people to watch football. Well, Spanish people watch soccer. They're soccer people. But anyway, and the sport is an American-based sport. So to have an American singer at the Super Bowl would be awesome. And I'm going to join Charlie Kirk's group, and I'm going to watch their Christian concert. And I encourage all of you to do it because that's how you tell the NFL and the like they're wrong. You understand? But here, we're getting back to government intervention, Andrew. And look, you don't hear this stuff anywhere but on this show. And I hope and pray you're telling your friends and your family and your congressmen and your senators and your governors to watch this show because I'm going to give them ideas that in which they can help your children, your grandchildren, your nephews, your nieces, your brothers, your sisters, because what's happening to the American athletes right now is, man, it's gone mad. It's gone wild. So if the NFL and all of the other professional franchises refuse to expand, I would petition every state and every city to petition and go to court that they want to have a franchise. Now, here's the thing. They're so dumb, these franchise owners they're born, when you're born with money, like when you're born with money, it's hard to be smart because you're so spoiled. They don't feel the pains that we all feel from growing up struggling and growing up through those hardships, but they don't have the stamina or the hearts or the love or the joy or the peace that we have because we didn't get born with a silver spoon in our mouth. But when you're talking to these silver spoon fed pencil-necked geeks who never wore a jockstrap. They don't understand this would help them. They're so busy trying to get Spanish singers and get Japanese athletes and do all this stuff to bring attention and get viewership. If you get 30 more teams, because it's all about the eyes, if you get 30 more states to have a professional franchise in all of those sports, what are they all going to do? They're all going to be more interested. They're going to be more enticed to participate and to watch. They're going to have more fanfare. You're going to have more kids and their parents and their grandparents and their wives and the players watching. It would have such a positive impact on the professional franchises that they're so greedy. They're so greedy, these guys. They can't see past their nose, Andrew. They can't see past their nose. So if they would expand and give all these young men and even the young women, I see soccer's going. They should have a team like we talked about, a professional women's soccer team, a professional NBA team in every city. Okay, because it's all good for the kids. We want our kids competing. We want those 60 million young athletes that compete every year in athletics. We want them to have more opportunities in the college ranks and in the professional ranks. Do you understand? And this is what would happen if these idiots would just expand. Now, getting back to paying these coaches, these college coaches, it's really and what's going on in the NCAA athletics is pathetic. With 66%, you told me, in tennis, 66% in tennis men's and 66% women's tennis are foreigners in America. So all these beautiful tennis players that we have in America, that many are foreigners competing at the universities. That is pathetic. My nieces all play tennis. Tennis is a great sport, okay? And to think all of the beautiful young ladies that compete and work their way up, that they're given 66% of the scholarships at the universities today are going to foreigners. Oh, my God. Now, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? And the same thing in hockey. Hockey's 38%, 40% of the hockey players in our country today. 40% of the hockey players in our country, and these guys are coming from wealthy countries. They're coming from wealthy countries. They're coming from Canada, they're coming from Scandinavia, Norway, and other, some of the Eastern Bloc countries that do all right for themselves. But here's the kicker, though, Andrew. And here's the big disadvantage. This Villanova punter from Australia, 33 years old. I forgot to tell you that. 33 years old, Andrew. 33. So he came and got a scholarship at East Carolina. He was 27 years old. Now, here's the thing. He's been 6 years he's been at it with COVID. Yeah. He's been at it for 6 years. So we have a foreign-born Australian took 6 years of scholarships away from one of our punters, could have punted. I mean, that's a soft position. There's boatloads of punters out there. You can convert a quarterback who might not be starting as a quarterback, let him concentrate, convert him into a punter. You know what I'm saying to you? Soccer players. So many soccer players, young soccer players running around. Go get a soccer player, let him work a little bit, develop him. But this guy's 27 years old when he gets this scholarship at East Carolina. It's sick. And that's what's happening, Andrew. These older athletes are more advanced than our athletes, because when you come out of high school at 18, 19 years old, across the country, it's 18, 19 years old to be eligible to play sports in high school, right? Yep. So now, then when you start high school, your eligibility starts, and when you start college, your eligibility starts that year, right? So from there, you're 19, 20 years old. Well, these foreigners, there's no clock with them. So that's in all the sports. So these colleges that are these coaches that are recruiting, getting back to the pressure of performing, right, and winning. Now, listen, these college coaches anymore are making $250,000 to $500,000 a year in these conferences to coach an all sport. I mean, we have the guy at Penn State, the wrestling coach. No one knows how many millions he's making to coach wrestlers. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So that pressure that we're talking about is at a different scale. They're not making, $7 to $10 million like this scumbag at LSU. who should get fired. If anybody should get fired, is him. I'm going to call down there. They still have the associate athletic director when my brother was there, and he's a Lebanese cat. And when they recruited me at LSU, the same guy's there. I'm going to call him and say they're going to fire that idiot and get Argeron back. Argeron was great. You know what I'm saying here? And they're cutting deals. Oh, Kelly, would you come coach for me for $10 million? Oh, yeah, you'll coach again. We're going to fire Argeron. The guy just won a national championship for him, put together one of the best college football teams in college history. And because he has a bad year, they fire him. Getting back to Penn State, the same. The guy was doing all right up there. But it makes me want to throw up. The fans are booing. The athletic director should
lose sight of what's important.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The athletic director should get fired. Stick with the guy. Let him have the season out. And listen, they just beat Iowa. I think Franklin was undefeated against Kirk fans. I don't know if Kirk fans ever beat him. In all those years, they just lost to Iowa.
They got him a few times. Heartbreakers.
Did they get Iowa? I don't really keep track of it. I watch them, but it was very, very. I mean, I think Franklin definitely had the edge. You understand? He definitely had the edge. I know Kirk always beat Joe Paterno. I mean, he beat him almost every year, right? But Kirk's been around for 27 years. But the point is, let the season end. Let the kids all feel their coach, support their coach, and give them a notice. And the Penn State kids don't deserve that. Getting back to who should they before I let you add your points. We're going to move on with the Penn State thing, but while we're at it, the alumni are always awesome to bring back and coach. We saw what happened with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. They were having a real hard time, falling apart, and he comes back, boom, they win a national championship. There's one guy that should get that job is Monchek. Monchek played on a national championship Penn State team. He's from Pennsylvania. He's been in coaching. He's an offensive lineman. I played against him. You know, I was at Pitt when he was at Penn State. Real good guy. He's married to a local girl here. He's married to a girl from Emmaus, right down the street where you guys are at, right? So he has good Pennsylvania roots. All the guys love him. All the old-time Penn State people love him. The fans love him. But he's a kick-ass guy. He's a former lineman, and you see the success that these linemen have coaching. Kirk Ferentz, lineman. The Kansas City Chiefs coach, Andy Reid, offensive lineman. So many coaches that are offensive linemen have so much success. That's the guy, in my opinion, that they need to hire. And all of the universities should look to hire former alumni that are playing for them. But bouncing back to these crazy statistics, Andrew, hockey, 38%, women's tennis, 66% are foreigners. I mean, that's absurd.
It's crazy. And those are all those numbers are from the first year. So that's recruiting classes. So because once you get into transfer portal and all that, it gets lost in the system, I guess. I don't know how. It's just NCAA. It's the beauty of the I don't know, that whole system. But yeah, I know they're ridiculous numbers when you look at them down the line. And what's it say? So tennis 60, men's tennis 64, women's tennis 66. Ice hockey, 38%, golf, men's golf, 26%, women's golf, 40%. It's insane. They're insane numbers. It's not 10, it's not 5. It's a lot. It's a lot of numbers. And these are all sports that are being played by kids. And I think we talked about this last week about how it takes away from the regionality of college sports. And that's what it really is all about. It's about like Penn State versus Pitt. So like, you know, it's about if you're playing Temple versus Pitt, it's the east side of the state versus the west side of the state. If you're playing, you know, Syracuse versus Penn State, it's New York versus Pennsylvania. It's fun. That's what makes it fun is the New York kids versus the Pennsylvania kids, or like, you know, there's always overlap. But that's the fun part about what makes these rivalries, you know, worthwhile. And that's what keeps you coming back is the pageantry and the fact that, you know, we're doing it. Your dad did it. Your grandfather did it. It's been going on for 80, 90, 100 years now. And you're like, we have grown up with these traditions, the same songs, the same routines, the same, like all of it. That's the fun part of what makes college sports really, really what it is. And I fear that's what we're losing as we move forward. But so we're running out of time here. But
the pageantry. I want to spend a minute on the pageantry of what you talked about. And the becoming a man or becoming a woman and growing up while you're in college, right? Something you did, something I did, something millions of Americans have done with an athletic opportunity who might not have been fortunate enough to get a scholarship or the like. But the reality of it is those friendships, right? Those relationships, the pageantry of it, the competition of it, all of those great aspects are being bought and sold out by the powers that be right now. And I would tell you, it's so critical, Andrew. It's so critical, man. And I'm praying for our kids. Every day I get up, I try to start my day off with the Lord's Prayer, and I try to pray for all these young men and women that are in these times in our country. But I would tell you, one of the great things that we have, one of the great American pastimes that has a wonderful pageantry and teaches all of the good things. Together, everyone accomplishes more, is athletics. And what we're trying to do, Andrew and I, we're trying to wake up America and say, hey, America, okay? This, if you don't have children right now, this is your future children's scholarships that we're talking about. You understand? If you do have children right now, this is an opportunity that's being just gone, taken from them. Volleyball, oh my God, volleyball is awesome. Like 17,000 people at the Nebraska volleyball game set a national attendance record. Right? We have Pitt and Penn State in our state, two awesome women's volleyball teams that are drawing and having all kind of success. They have foreigners on their teams. Now, all of this is what Andrew and I, we're going to spend more time on this. We reached our limit for this week's show, but we're gonna spend a lot more time on this. But we want you to spend time on this. You can get online and you can see this stuff, and you can call and email Penn State and Pitt. I mean, 11 foreigners on their women's soccer team, 11. So we want you to investigate. We want you to get into this and see what we're telling you is if you fact check everything that me and Andrew are talking about, I believe they call it fact check, Andrew, you'll see that we're right on. And we're only doing this for the good of God, for the good of our country, and for the good of our children. So I pray that you join us in our efforts and go out and do that work. Go out and be that voice for all of those our children now and the future generations. Because if we don't, it's going pretty fast, Andrew.
No, that's
it's going really fast.
That's the whole point of the show.
And remember, just to end this, just to end our show, it's not the International Collegiate Athletic Association. It's the National Collegiate Athletic Association. And that money is to go to American athletes, not foreign athletes. And I don't know where they're all getting these visas at, but it's ridiculous that they're getting these visas just to come in here, steal our college athletes opportunities with scholarships and scholarship money, and then they're coming in professional sports and stealing billions and billions of dollars away from our minor league and college athletes. Something has to get done, Andrew, and it's up to all of you to do it. And with the power of prayer also, man, that's the cherry on top. But go do your work.
No, absolutely. I think that's the main theme of the whole podcast is that we're just trying to start a conversation and bring light to all these things that are happening, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know what's going on. A lot of people don't pay attention to the contracts, don't pay attention to what's coming in from an off the field perspective. So again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in for this week's episode. And you can, again, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, and social media. And I can't wait to see you next week. Have a good one.
We'll fight the fight, man. Come on. Fight the fight.